Norman, when Trae Young signed his letter of intent to Oklahoma, his father, Ray, might have been as happy as his son. The wild recruiting process, both fun and exhausting, was over. Some of the moments were unforgettable. Kentucky coach John Calipari once tossed the keys of his Ferrari to the five-star point guard and asked him something like, "You've got the keys to my offense now. What are you going to do with it?" Norman North students chanted OU coach Lon Kruger's name as he watched Young play. Kansas coach Bill Self was in the locker room, joining the celebrations following a win in the Bishop McGuinness Classic. All of the hoopla came with one reality: the goal was getting to the next level without making any career-altering mistakes. The temptation was always there. Ray knows he's fortunate. Not many parents watch their kids develop into college basketball players, even fewer foster a home for a player of Young's caliber. He was also fortunate because his son never got swept up in all the hysteria. "My dad told me one time before this all started, would you want that little bit of money now and that be all you get? The money they give you in the NBA is crazy," Trae said. "Why would you risk it to get $100,000 when you could get $100 million? It's not worth it at the end of the day." In September, the FBI announced federal charges for 4 assistant coaches, among others, following an investigation into college basketball. The findings, laid out by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, included assertions of mass corruption, bribery and wire fraud when dealing with recruits going from high school to college. 2 of the programs involved in the ongoing investigation heavily recruited young. Oklahoma State assistant coach Lamont Evans, who has been fired by the university, is alleged to have taken $22,000 in bribes to allow founder of Princeton Capital, an investment services firm, Moonish sued, access to students, potentially steering them to the firm as professionals. Arizona assistant coach Emmanuel Richardson, aka Book, is alleged to have taken money from sued as well as ASM agent Christian Dawkins to sway NBA prospects to their businesses. Also, he is accused of giving some of that money to a recruit. Young had plenty of reasons to choose OU. It was closest to home. He felt a sense of pride to wear the OU jersey. He had been on countless visits to Lloyd Noble Center and knew the players and coaches well. Ray knew a veteran coach like Kruger, who's led 7 Division I programs and an NBA franchise. Wouldn't he want to get involved with anything improper? That wasn't the case for other programs. "You have to think about the schools recruiting Trae," Ray said. "You have my alma mater, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State, and then the Blue Bloods. In order to land a prospect like Trae, they would have had to make certain promises. We know, if we would have asked, they would have taken care of us." The Youngs felt fortunate they could say no. Growing up in the suburbs of Norman, Trae never had to worry about his next meal. When someone would ask if he wanted new shoes, a sleeve, a bracelet, etc., he declined. He had his own. These offers pour in for the country's top recruits, and for some, it is not that simple. It's ridiculous. I was one of those kids that didn't have much coming up, so I can only imagine some of the kids and some of the things they were offered, Ray said. A lot of parents aren't educated about the process, and they don't realize it's only temporary gratification. It will come back to haunt you in the long run. I really feel for the kids that need it. I really wish the rules were different, where kids could get a free hamburger sometime and maybe a free voucher to go watch a movie. It's just the rules that you can't do it. Ray remembers pulling unfamiliar faces away from his son all over the country. It happened most often at All-Star games, where those seeking to get an early in with potential NBA players had plenty of targets. "Everywhere I went, there would be people coming up to me asking if they could get my number," Trae said. "They try to sell me stuff, or even little things like let me wear their bracelet that has their brand. My dad taught me to be aware of everything. Through it all, Trae stuck with the same routine. He'll take your card, but he'll always say he'll give it to my dad, or here's my dad's number," Ray said. The margin for error was slim. A slip could cost him his eligibility. With that goal in mind, the choices became easier but never went away. In meetings with compliance officials, said Ray, which seemed to last hours, during the summer, the two had nothing to fear. They felt blessed to go through such an exhilarating recruiting process, but there were parts of it they were happy to avoid. He wasn't really out there looking for any handouts, and that was something we always talked about. "Don't take anything you don't need," Ray said. That was one thing that was scary about this recruiting process. I mean, we got offered a lot of stuff, and Trey got offered a lot of stuff to go to different events and maybe choose different schools. John McKelvey 3663530 Jade McKelvey at normantranscripts.com. Follow me at John_McKelvey.